Appreciate you, everybody being here. I know it's late. Let me start with, this is really our first recruiting class. Last year was after the signing day, and so it was a completely different situation, procedure, and process, and so forth. So this was, really a very long process that I'll get into in a minute, but it was much different from last year. So let me just start with that. It's a big class, and we're excited about the players that have signed here and committed here. They will be a foundation for our program. They represent really the values that we stand for. At least that's what the way we feel at this time. That's why we recruited those players. And it really transcends, the entire football team. We signed one quarterback, one running back, but other positions, receiver, tight end, offensive, defensive line, linebacker, defensive back, a kicker and a punter. It's a pretty balanced class. We have, guys across the board at most every position, and we feel good about the players that we have here, and we're glad they feel good about us. So it's a good day. It's been a very long day. We started at 7 a.m. We talked to every player, and I will say in I think all cases there was family or friends or coaches or somebody with the player when we talked to them and welcomed them to our football team program. And we had other follow-up conversations with people that were connected to them, coaches, mentors, family members, and so forth, to just kind of continue to work on the relationship and the process. These players and their parents, a lot of this is, again, about relationships, about trust, and about, families trusting us with their kids and their development and their career. And we take that very seriously and want to make sure that we have clear lines of communication and transparency with all the things that are involved on that. And so today was a day to follow up on many things that have been done over the past, let's call it period of time, which could be weeks, months, or in some cases actually years, that some of these players have been recruited by somebody here in North Carolina. So when you look at the culmination of today and the months and months of work that was put into this recruiting class by so many people in building their relationships, it's a 365-day-a-year job. When you look at it collectively, not each person, I'm not saying that, but collectively, we have student athletes on this campus. I don't know how many days a year it is, but it's a lot. And we've gone out, and they've come in, and they visited, and other players have been here for camps, and 7-on-7s, and games, and tours, and so forth and so on. And there's a multitude of relationships on many different levels. And it's really, all hands on deck. Everybody's involved, and there are multiple people to talk to, boxes to check, things to questions to answer, to try to make sure that everything is the right fit all the way around, that the student athlete is getting what he's looking for, and that we're getting the student athlete that we feel is right for our program, and that we can make that work. So I think it's important for me to recognize all the people that this involves, starting at the top, Chancellor Roberts, who has come over and talk to our recruits and been around at times when they've been, he's been around when they've been around, some of that's been, it's just happened generically. Some of it has been structured. Lee and Steve on the, athletic department side. And then the people who are the most hands-on, the people in the recruiting department, Mike and his staff, assistant coaches, and personnel people, and then all the other people that are involved in this process, from admissions to academics to medical to operations, travel and so forth, food and entertainment and logistics and moving people around in various events, whether it be games or, again, tours, things like that, PR and content and a lot of the social media type things that are involved in recruiting with both the school, the student athlete, the student athlete's high school, and so forth. That gets into another level of management. Our alumni have been very helpful and supportive, and we've engaged many of them in this final process with welcoming our student athletes to the university, the Rams Club, and other coaches at UNC and other sports where players, student athletes have overlapped into other sports, or maybe they have a sibling who's in another sport or that kind of thing, where it's not just straight football, but it's also other aspects of the university that come into play. And again, some of the help we've gotten from professors and again, people in academics to help student athletes find their right, whether it's course of study or particular questions that they have about the academic side of their experience here at this university. So again, I just want to emphasize what a comprehensive undertaking this is. It's a very lengthy one and a very serious one. When a student athlete commits 4 years to an institution to not only to have his football career and his academic career, and it's a big life decision, and we take that very seriously and want to do the best that we can to make sure that every question is answered honestly and with integrity, so that there aren't any false hopes, false expectations, or misconceptions about anything. But again, going back to the football side of it, very excited about the players that we have, and the student athletes that are coming in here. Most, but not all, most of them will be here in January, which will give them more time to train and develop in our program for the fall. But that's not a deal breaker one way or another. I mean, we're excited to get the players whenever they get here. I'm just saying that a lot of them will be here early. And they all have, genuinely, I think, started to form a connection themselves as a recruiting class, as they've come to various games and various events around here where they've met other student athletes who are making the same decision as they are to come here, and they've already started to form a bond with this, with their recruiting class. So it's exciting to see that too. And I know in team building, when people of similar mindset and similar values and come together, then they usually, that usually provides a good, a good basis and a good start for, long-term relationships. So hopefully we can, we can do that and, be a part of that process. So I'll turn it over to Michael at this point, and, he has, the most intimate knowledge of all the players and all their, backgrounds, and whether it be playing or family and so forth. That's he oversees all that and has worked extremely hard at it. Again, I can't even begin to, it's hard to me to even comprehend the number of man and woman hours that have been put into evaluating, communicating, and hosting and building relationships with not just these players, but student athletes, but many other student athletes who have made different choices. But with the ones that we have, it's been it's a pretty major undertaking. So Mike's the best person to talk about that. So Michael, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Rick.
You got it.